Team Fortress 2. Racism. The two are inseparable. You read the title. You know what this video is going to be about, so let's skip the 3-minute intro and get right into it, ranking the TF2 classes in order of racism, to eventually conclude with what may be the single most racist character in any video game ever. So stick around to the end and hold on to your socks, because you won't believe just how racist the Team Fortress 2 cast can be. Starting off as someone you would probably expect to be near the bottom, the poster boy of TF2, the Heavy. He's kept a relatively clean track record, especially for being one of the oldest mercenaries on the team. Perhaps due to his immense size, he simply doesn't feel the need to distinguish the races of the classes before him. Scout, on the other hand, does have some racist tendencies. Take, for instance, his mocking of the medic's German heritage.
Real nice effort, Deutschbag!
He's also recently made some tweets widely perceived as being anti-Semitic, alongside coming from Boston. But in the grand scale of racist TF2 classes, the Boston Basher ranks second for least racist. But he does come in first for pedophilia, Sniper. Those first two classes weren't exactly racist, but from here on out, the prejudice of these characters will be undeniable. To start out, Sniper frequently calls people the slur mongrel, as well as piker. These words aren't used much outside Australia, but they are still very racist things to say. Speaking of Australia, that's where the Sniper is from, and Australians generally tend to be pretty racist people. He also unnecessarily references the Demoman's Scottish nationality.
Tagged you wobbling Scot!
Also, the vast majority of people who main Sniper just so happen to be racist. This likely correlates with the Sniper's white supremacist tendencies. Spy being this low on the list may surprise some of you, given his history of saying the N-word, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Spy's in-game model features blatant blackface. Blackface is a form of theatrical makeup used predominantly by non-black people to portray a caricature of a black person. In the United States, blackface declined in popularity beginning in the 1940s and into the civil rights movement of the 1950s and the 1960s, and was generally considered highly offensive, disrespectful, and racist by the turn of the 21st century, though the practice continues in other countries. He is also from France, a country which has continued to push its sphere of influence into Africa through the 21st century. All in all, the Spy is undeniably quite racist.
You know where you ought to hide next time? Back in France.
Can you believe it? You just heard the TF2 engineer shamelessly telling a foreigner to go back where he came from. This is a racist epithet which is used to target ethnic minorities. And as if that wasn't enough, when you look at a map of racism in the United States, Texas is always the most racist state, and the engineer just so happens to be from Texas. Could there be a correlation here? The medic is from Germany. The main events of Team Fortress 2 take place in the year 1968, so being somewhere in between his late 40s and early 50s, he would have been old enough to fight in World War II. I see you there. I know what's going through your head. There's no way the TF2 medic could possibly be a Nazi. But let's take a look at the description of the medic's mountain cap. The men in his unit called him the Bavarian Butcher. That's Valve confirming, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the TF2 medic was, in fact, a Nazi. Just think about it for a minute. The kind of person who is eager to perform deadly experiments and has no respect for human dignity would fit perfectly among the ranks of Joseph Mengele. Now, the reason why he doesn't have the top spot is because we don't know exactly what he did, but being a Nazi is enough to land him here. When you think of racism in TF2, the first thing you think of is probably the soldier. Where do we begin? His comments toward other classes are consistently full of racially charged language.
Scotland is not a real country. You are an Englishman with a dress. Go back to Calgary, you cowherding Canadian. Gotcha here, doctor. I will send my condolences to your kangaroo wife. Words cannot express how much I hate France right now.
And to make matters worse, in saying,
Dominated, you one-eyed cross-dresser.
the soldier is making a very transphobic statement to the Demoman. And speaking of the Demoman, the second most racist class in all of TF2 might surprise you. That's right, it's the Demoman. Now I know what you're thinking. The Demoman can't be racist, he's a part of a historically oppressed group of people. He's a Scotsman. Director of the controversial The Passion of the Christ, the Demoman has been known to go on anti-Semitic rants. After being pulled over for drunk driving in 2006, the Demoman made a number of severely anti-Semitic remarks.
Jews! The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world! Are you a Jew?
Although he would later apologize for these statements, the fact remains that the Demoman is a deeply bigoted character. We've seen some truly reprehensible behavior from the previous 8 classes, but this final mercenary is so indescribably racist, they make the rest of the classes seem tolerant in comparison. The only one left, the Pyro, answers the question in this video's title. The Pyro is the most racist class in Team Fortress 2. But why? All of Pyro's dialogue is seemingly muffled under that gas mask. This isn't because the Pyro is incapable of speech. No, Valve had to censor every last line spoken by the Pyro. The Pyro is so incomprehensibly racist that they are incapable of speaking without uttering ethnic slurs. This is what the Pyro sounds like without Valve's censorship.
You fucking hookers. Oh, look at you, you're fucking Asian. No one wants to 69 a fucking Asian. Fucking mean. You're fucking Asian.
As you can see, the racism of the Pyro knows no bounds. There you have it. Every class in TF2 ranked in order of racism. If we incorporated some characters from the lore, then it would most likely look like this. I hope you learned a thing or two from this, so thanks for watching. I may upload more videos in the future. They probably won't be about TF2 since just about everything in this game has already been discussed and analyzed to death, but they might be if I get a particularly good idea.